Karlygash Ismagulova entered the world of art at an age when few dare to start something new. In her previous life, she was a sought-after recruiter heading the HR department at a major company. But one day, everything changed. Maternity leave, the realization of how precious time with her children truly is. And most importantly, Karlygash finally stopped resisting her long-held, genuine desires. The stirrings of the soul, the call of her inner voice. She chose to listen. That's how her journey into illustration began. With quick sketches on napkins, intuitive drawings that had no clear form yet, but already hinted at freedom.
Для меня рисунок — это всегда эксперимент.
For me, drawing is always an experiment. Since I'm self-taught, I find the most joy in the process itself, just watching what unfolds.
Больше процессом и больше смотреть, что выйдет. Иногда я не могу точно знать, какой будет результат.
Sometimes I don't know what the final result will be, and that's exactly what I love, playing with lines, direction, pressure, shapes, and contrast. It's through the process that I keep learning, and honestly, sometimes I'm just curious to see what the outcome will be.
И для меня иногда даже интересно дождаться результата.
Today, Karlygash Ismagulova's name is known thanks to her art gatherings provocatively titled Draw Ugly. That slogan became her manifesto. Karlygash believes art doesn't have to be correct like in a textbook. It can be crooked, illogical, even funny. Because it is in those broken lines and skewed proportions that life begins. Raw, spontaneous, and free from gloss or pretense. Her power lies in honesty. She doesn't pretend to be an academic artist or mimic established schools. Her drawings are a dialogue with herself and with a viewer. Each one carries a touch of irony, a domestic scene, a grandmother's quirky habit, or a childhood memory. Together, they form not just her personal style, but an entire aesthetic. For Karlygash, ugly is a way to be real.
Since I'm self-taught, I started my creative blog with any particular goal, but then I began getting responses from people. What felt like something deeply personal, little domestic moments, funny situations suddenly sparked messages like, "Oh, I've been through that too, that reminds me of my grandmother. You've captured exactly what I felt during maternity leave with my child." And that's when I realized what I thought was just mine was actually something many people connected with. That's when I understood I could share it. And that sharing was taking me to a whole new stage.
When Karlygash first said the phrase "draw ugly," it sounded like a challenge. In a world chasing perfect pictures, she offered the opposite. She chose to break lines, disrupt composition, and dismantle artistic conventions. Her method wasn't born from theory, but from practice. By experimenting, letting her hand move freely, Karlygash discovered a visual language where the value lies not in the result, but in the process. Her art gatherings became a kind of freedom lab. People used to spreadsheets and reports suddenly picked up pencils and stopped fearing mistakes. They drew imperfectly, and through embracing imperfection, they rediscovered the lightness of childhood. Karlygash sees how her participants change. Their lines grow bolder, their hands loosen, and the inner tension fades away.
Я думаю, я не закладывала это.
I didn't plan it this way, but I've been hosting these art gatherings for over a year now, and I can really see the impact on those who come regularly. Even psychologically, their drawing becomes calmer, freer, without tension. The name Draw Ugly came to me after I saw an ad for a drawing course. It showed a child's drawing, before and after. The before was lively, spontaneous, full of unusual lines. The after was neat, polished, but lifeless.
Живой, непосредственный, с такими интересными линиями, и после это был такой прилизанный рисунок. Поэтому, когда мы...
That's when I realized, when we focus too much on the result, we trap ourselves, we stop experimenting. But when people hear Draw Ugly, they let go.
Как правило, нету зажимов, и ко мне приходят, и там...
I've had doctors, former accountants, even professional artists join in, and each of them finds something meaningful in the process.
Также приходят, и каждый для себя находит что-то интересное.
Today, more and more Kazakhstani artists are exploring themes of self-identity. In a globalized world where styles and symbols flow freely across cultures, preserving one's own voice becomes essential. Illustration has become a tool of memory, a way to rethink traditions and present them in a fresh, modern light. Karlygash's approach reflects a broader movement in Kazakh art. Young illustrators are boldly blending traditional motifs with digital formats, creating works that stand confidently on the global stage. Galleries, art festivals, brand collaborations – all of these are shaping a vibrant new layer of cultural life, where Kazakhstan is emerging as a space with a bold, authentic vibe.
У Karlygash есть свой стиль особенный, где она...
Karlygash has a unique style. She draws deliberately ugly, at least by traditional standards, broken lines, unexpected compositions. You could call it intuitive, naive art.
Этот стиль можно назвать интуитивным наивом. И проводя встречи, которые называются рисунки...
Through her gatherings called Draw Ugly, Karlygash makes a bold statement, inviting people to break free from rules and limitations.
Предлагает неожиданный, наверное, путь человеку освободиться от рамок и ограничений. То есть она говорит...
She reminds us that art isn't about perfection, it's about life, about pain, fear, humor, and being your true self.
Возможно, про страхи, про юмор, про себя настоящего. Поэтому, говоря «рисуй некрасиво»,
By saying draw ugly, she liberates people. She gives them the freedom to draw however they want, the freedom to create.
людям право рисовать так, как они хотят, право творить.
Every artist sees the world through her or his own lens, searching for a personal source of inspiration. For Karlygash, that source is her own life. She doesn't escape into abstract ideas or hide behind complex metaphors. Her material is everyday life, scenes that may seem too simple for art but are filled with warmth and truth. The central figure in her illustrations is her grandmother. In different stories, she's funny, tender, sometimes stern, but always real.
Я поняла, что чтобы не выгорать,
I realized that to avoid burnout in illustration, you have to draw what's close to your heart. For me, that means family scenes, little moments from everyday life.
и показываю их в иллюстрации. Мы долго ждали моего первого сына, 6 лет.
We waited 6 years for our first son, and when he was born, I remember this moment, my grandmother carrying him on her back. That became one of my very first illustrations.
Затем у меня есть смешные сценки про килин, чай, как она разливает там. У меня есть смешная сценка, как мама моя.
Then came funny scenes, like the killing, pouring tea, or my mom, well, my grandmother, sitting on WhatsApp, watching the screen while her grandson plays nearby. That's why I never get tired of drawing. I'm telling my own story, my own world through these images. I don't burn out because I always want to show more, especially about grandmothers. She's the most constant character in my work, grandmother and grandson, little domestic moments. I found my style in this. I don't need to copy anyone.
Я поняла, что это мой стиль, я нашла себя в этом, и мне не нужно никого копировать.
Playfulness is a defining trait of Karlygash's style. She doesn't mock, she observes life with a soft smile. Even the exaggerated shapes or deliberate awkwardness in her drawings feel like an invitation not to take things too seriously. There is a kind of humor toward herself and the world around her. That's why her illustrations never feel cold or calculated. They remain warm, personal stories. Viewers recognize themselves in her work, their own family habits, their own memories. It creates a sense of shared experience. Karlygash's illustrations are more than just her personal story. They've become a part of a shared national memory, told through simple, humorous images that speak to everyone.
На самом деле мне во всех своих иллюстрациях хочется привнести
In all my illustrations, I tried to add a touch of irony, just a little, a playful look at everyday routine moments. That's why there is always a hint of humor in my work. Even when I exaggerate shapes, it's just a way to make things a bit more fun.
И даже когда я преувеличиваю формы, это чуть-чуть такое, с таким, чтобы что-то сделать повеселее.
What Karlygash creates may seem unique, but in a global context, her approach echoes several artistic movements. In the 20th century, many styles emerged that broke conventions in search of authenticity. Naive art, art brut, primitivism, all rejected academic precision in favor of raw expression. Artists like Jean Dubuffet and Paul Gauguin showed that the true value of art lies not in technical perfection, but in the freshness of perspective. More recently, British artist David Shrigley became a global phenomenon with his deliberately crooked drawings. They may look like childlike scribbles, but they carry sharp, ironic commentary on life. A similar spirit lives in Japanese illustration, where minimalist lines and absurd scenarios create a new language of contemporary art.
Если мы говорим о вот этой новой волне казахстанского изобразительного...
When we talk about this new wave in Kazakh visual art, where artists dive deep into themes of self-identity and national memory, we are seeing something truly distinctive. It's a quality that could resonate on a global level.
Черта, которая может быть интересна на мировом уровне. И при всем при этом...
And what's more, today's Kazakh illustrators are working at a very high standard. They are fully capable of competing with their peers from around the world.
Со своими мировыми коллегами из других стран. Вот это вот культурное наше наследие помогает...
Our society has a growing need for self-identification, and our cultural heritage helps us. It helps us express our uniqueness in a globalized world. Artists and illustrators are reinterpreting traditional motifs in modern forms, bringing them into their paintings and illustrations. This isn't just a trend, it's a conscious return to our roots, a form of cultural self-respect, a desire to preserve our individuality.
Это стремление сохранить свою уникальность.
Karlygash's work, I'd say, stands out in Kazakhstan's contemporary art scene. It's deeply personal, cultural, and spiritual. She captures moments that every person can relate to. And every viewer, every Kazakhstan's resident can see themselves in her stories.
Artists like Karlygash are becoming agents of change. They don't just create, they reshape how society relates to art. Her Draw Ugly gatherings are a vivid example of how personal initiative can evolve into a part of the creative industry. They bring people together, nurture new tastes, and offer an alternative to conventional leisure.
Моя задача, я так вижу, что
I see it as my mission. We don't have enough representation of our culture in illustration. That's why I want to speak more about it, to show it visually, and to draw strength not from famous international illustrators, but from our own traditions.
Не где-то извне, там, смотря на каких-то крутых иллюстраторов, мне хочется находить...
I believe we need to quiet the mind a little, look inward, and stop copying European or foreign styles. At first, we all try to imitate, but the real task is to find your own voice, your own self.
Поэтому, мне кажется, в этом и задача просто найти свое «я».
Karlygash sees her mission as elevating the value of illustration in the region. She challenges the notion that illustration is just for children and proves it's a complex, fully fledged art form. Her work carries lightness, national symbols, and personal memories, and it delivers a powerful message. Don't be afraid to draw ugly. In that ugliness lies the truth, our vulnerability, and our strength. And that's exactly what can turn it into the art of the future.